Do you ever feel like the only way to lose weight is to eat perfectly, never mess up, track everything, and basically turn food into a full-time job? Well, that's ridiculous, because last time I checked, most of us, well, we already had jobs and kids and stress. But when people struggle with weight loss, they don't blame the plan, they blame themselves. They think, I just don't have enough willpower. But here's the truth. People don't fail because they're lazy. They're failing because they try to follow systems that just don't blend real well with real life. And the cost of that? Well, you keep starting over. You feel guilty around food. You know what to do, but you just can't stick with it. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not a motivation problem. It's a design problem. In this video, I'll show you why most diets fail because they're way more complicated than they need to be, how simple, balanced meals actually support weight loss without tracking or perfection, and the few easy habits that make eating healthy feel doable even in real life, so you can stop starting over again and actually see real results. Have you ever opened a box of furniture or something you thought was gonna be really simple to build, and right on top there's this instruction manual that's in 17 different languages? You get tiny print, some weird diagrams, and there's some arrows pointing to a picture of something that's not what you purchased. You don't stop and think, wow, I'm really not very good at putting things together. You take a look at that and you're like, who the hell designed this? Because if the instructions were clear, if the process was simple, more people would actually finish the job. And this is exactly what we found with healthy eating. Nutrition has been turned into this massive instruction manual. You get calories, macros, points, tracking apps, meal timing rules, food elimination lists, good foods, bad foods. And then we're shocked when people quit. When someone can't stick to a diet, they assume it's just a discipline problem. But in reality, not a willpower issue, it's a design issue. When your nutrition requires constant decisions, constant tracking, and constant perfection, it's only a matter of time before real life blows it out of the water. Here's the part nobody wants to admit. Most diets don't fail because they don't work. They fail because they're not sustainable. There's too many rules, too many restrictions, and too many things you have to get right on a daily basis. That kind of system only works when life's calm. And if experience has taught us anything, is life's rarely calm. Deadlines at work, kids get sick, you gotta go out of town next week, stress just piles up. And when one rule breaks, well, the whole plan just seems to fall apart. Research has shown that behavior-based, flexible approaches lead to better long-term results than rigid diets. Not because they're magical, but simply because they're repeatable. And having a system that you can repeat when life gets hard, that matters. Weight loss isn't about doing everything right. It's about being able to do a few basic things even when life gets challenging. Once you strip away the complicated rules, the question gets kind of simple. What actually works? But we love to overthink everything, and this is where we make it complicated. You don't need to cut entire food groups. You don't need to track every single calorie, and you certainly don't have to eat perfect. What you do need is some semblance of balance. A simple balanced meal should include 4 things. First, you've got protein, ideally 30 grams or more, a vegetable, carbohydrates, and a healthy fat. Protein matters because it helps you feel full and satisfied. It turns down your hunger signals between meals and helps you avoid mindless snacking. Fiber-rich carbs slow digestion. Think fruits, vegetables, whole grains. These help you maintain your energy level. And healthy fats, well, they make your meals more satisfying. When food tastes better, well, you're less likely to go hunting for snacks later. When meals are balanced like this, something interesting happens. Most people naturally eat fewer calories without trying. Not because they're trying to be overly restrictive, but because their hunger signals actually start working better. Balance isn't boring. Balance is what makes consistency possible. Once your meals are simple and balanced, you don't need dozens of habits. You do, however, need a few anchors that you can come back to when life gets busy. And that first anchor, I mentioned it earlier, but protein at every meal. 30 grams or more is the target. People who consistently get enough protein tend to feel more in control around food. We're talking fewer cravings, less grazing, and better appetite control. The second anchor is eating at regular intervals. So whether you eat 2 times a day or 3 times a day, when the time is consistent, your body starts to know when to expect food. And that helps you control your hunger signals. The third anchor is hydration. So sometimes when you're needing water or electrolytes, that can feel like hunger. So when people snack, they're really needing either more water, more electrolytes. And you don't need some sort of special app or a band on your arm with a digital readout. You just need some basic behaviors. Make sure you're getting enough water and electrolytes on a regular basis. Now, this is where well-intentioned people can quietly sabotage themselves. They label foods as either good or bad. And the moment something doesn't go perfectly and you eat a food that you've labeled as bad, you feel like you've gone off the rails and wrecked everything. Next thing you know, you're saying, screw it, I'll start Monday. The all or nothing mindset is one of the biggest reasons that weight loss doesn't last. Restriction leads to rebound. When foods are bad or off limits, they become way more tempting. When people feel really deprived, they tend to overeat when they do finally break the rules. Flexible eating strategies lead to better long-term success. People simply stick with it longer. They experience fewer of the binge restrict cycle, and their relationship with food improves. Now, flexibility doesn't mean you can eat anything anytime with no structure. It just allows room for real life, like holidays, social events, or an extremely busy week. When nothing is forbidden, well, food kind of loses its power. And when food loses its power, that's where consistency finally beats control. Now, here's the part that most people underestimate. Your environment matters way more than your motivation. If you're expecting to have willpower in an environment that's working against you, you're going to lose. Research shows people eat what's convenient, visible, and available, not what they intended to eat. So if highly processed grab-and-go foods are what's in your environment, that's likely what you're going to eat, not because you're weak-minded, but because that level of friction matters. That's why small changes to your environment really make a big difference. You want to keep healthy foods visible and convenient so that in the moment you don't have to worry about making a good decision. It's already done for you. This doesn't require more discipline, it requires a better setup. When the healthy choice is the easy choice, staying consistent doesn't feel like such a fight. Sustainable weight loss comes from repeatable habits. Healthy eating works best when it's simple, flexible, and realistic. It doesn't need to be perfect, and it doesn't need to be complicated. Balanced meals, a few strong anchors, and room for real life. Most importantly, an environment that supports you. That's the entire playbook. Stop treating food like a test that you can fail. Look at it like an experiment so you can learn from any mistakes that you make so you can continue to improve. Healthy eating shouldn't feel like hard work, just needs to be doable. We don't want healthy eating to feel complicated. However, one of the most common questions that we get is, what should I eat before my workout? A lot of people overthink this, and we want to break it down and make it really simple for you. And we're going to do that right here in this video. We'll discuss what you should eat before a workout to support weight loss and your performance. Just simple, practical guidance that actually fits a real life.